So I want you to imagine a really tense moment. Maybe it's a massive family argument at, I don't know, 8:17 at night.
Oh, oddly specific, but yeah, I know the vibe.
Right. Or maybe it's that terrifying split second during an English conversation when you just completely forget the word you need.
Yeah.
What is our standard reaction?
Panic, noise, getting super defensive.
Exactly. But here is a strange truth about human psychology. If you want to make someone incredibly nervous, you do not yell at them. You don't argue.
You just look them in the eye and stay completely quiet.
Yes. Today, we're looking at a completely different approach to pressure. We are doing a deep dive on calm.
But not like a passive, sleepy kind of calm. We mean true calm.
Right, because we are looking at a really fascinating transcript from the YouTube channel Speak English with Class, and their whole argument is that staying steady under pressure is an active, really powerful state of self-regulation.
Yeah, it actually unsettles people.
Yeah.
And our mission today is to decode the mechanics behind that. We want to show you how to pause under pressure.
And how to apply these habits, right? Especially if you are a non-native English speaker trying to keep your confidence up when you are just searching for words.
Right, because the premise we are unpacking today really challenges a massive misconception. I mean, society usually frames calm as weakness.
Oh, totally. We just assume someone who is quiet during a crisis is either a doormat or they're just, completely checked out.
Exactly. But the source material completely flips that. True composure is a highly deliberate thing.
It's hard work.
It really is. It's demanding. It's about neurologically hijacking your own stress response.
So let's start with that illusion of noise versus the power of calm. The source argues that people naturally trust noise before they trust depth.
Which is so true. Think about a corporate meeting.
The person speaking the loudest or interrupting the most usually takes over the room. We confuse volume with authority.
And while the biology behind that is actually super deeply ingrained in us, our brains are hardwired to prioritize loud things as threats.
Like an evolutionary thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
If we go back a few thousand years, a sudden loud noise usually meant a predator. Your amygdala, which is your brain's alarm center, it just lights up.
Oh, wow. So when a coworker interrupts you loudly, your nervous system literally thinks it's a tiger.
Yeah. It confuses that aggressive volume with dominance. It's an evolutionary performance that mimics control, but it's totally superficial.
There's this beautiful analogy in the source to explain this. They talk about a tree with deep roots.
I love that part.
Right, like the tree doesn't look dramatic, it just stands there. You only realize how incredibly strong it is when the wind actually starts blowing.
And then the roots hold it down.
Yeah. But if we apply this to you, the listener, especially if you're learning English, this is huge. If you're speaking slowly and taking deliberate pauses to find your words.
People might misread that.
Exactly. Because driven by that primate brain, they might see your careful pacing as a lack of confidence.
Which is such a paradox.
Yeah.
Because from a distance, stillness looks like hesitation. But up close,
Yeah.
it requires massive structural integrity.
It's active.
Very active. Think about how noise-canceling headphones work.
Okay.
When you put them on, the outside world doesn't actually go quiet. The headphones are actively analyzing the chaos outside, and they produce an opposing internal frequency to neutralize it.
Wait, that is such a cool way to look at it. So a calm person is doing that internally?
Yes. They aren't just sitting in an empty, quiet room in their mind. They are doing the heavy, invisible processing required to neutralize the chaos in real time.
But, okay, let me push back a little here.
Go for it.
If this active self-regulation is so strong, why do I feel so vulnerable when I try to do it?
What do you mean?
Like, if a boss demands an answer in English and I freeze, being steady feels impossible. My heart rate is at 120. My brain is screaming at me to panic.
Well, your brain is screaming because your fight or flight system has hijacked you.
Yeah.
And people who rely on provoking others, they know exactly how to manipulate that.
Oh, they definitely do.
Right. Some people actually use chaos to manage their own anxiety. Anger is familiar to them. Defensiveness is familiar.
So if they can push your buttons and make you panic, they feel like they're in control.
Exactly. You are playing the part they assign to you.
And that leads to the next bizarre phenomenon in the source. True calm actually makes people nervous. It unsettles them.
Yeah, because they throw the chaos at you, expecting you to catch it.
And the source has this brilliant visual for this. Imagine someone throwing a heavy ball as hard as they can against a brick wall.
Right, they expect it to bounce back.
Exactly. They expect the wall to bounce it right back so they can catch it and throw it again. That's the rhythm of an argument. But imagine they throw that heavy ball with all their might, and suddenly The wall just isn't there.
The physics of that are wild. The thrower's own aggressive momentum just carries them forward awkwardly.
Because there's no resistance.
Yeah, they stumble into empty space. They completely lose their balance.
Let's do a quick role play for the listener to show how this works. Say we are in a tense meeting. I'm your manager, and I throw this really passive-aggressive comment at you.
Okay, let's hear it.
I say, well, I guess we're missing the deadline again because you didn't prioritize the client translations.
Oh.
Right. Now, the standard script says you become the wall. You get defensive, raise your voice, list all the reasons I'm wrong.
And the ball bounces back. We're in a familiar fight.
But what if instead you just look at me, hold eye contact, and remain totally silent for 3 full seconds?
Well, as the person who started it, that 3-second gap is excruciating. The script I relied on just broke.
You're just standing there holding your own unreciprocated hostility.
Exactly. The silence forces me to hear my own unreasonable comment. By not reacting, you send a clear signal, like, your chaos is not my emergency.
And there's a powerful internal phrase the source gives you to use here. You don't say it out loud, you just anchor yourself with it.
Oh yeah, what was it?
You tell yourself, I see what's happening, and I'm not joining it.
That is so good.
Yeah.
Just thinking that changes your posture. You stop leaning in, and you settle back into your chair.
Totally. Now, how does this connect to an English learner? Say you're in a crucial presentation and you hit a mental wall. You forget the key vocabulary word.
Right. And naturally, you expect the standard script.
Yeah.
Panic, stuttering, apologizing, nervous laughter.
Sudden shrinking in your seat.
Yeah. But if you use the vanishing wall technique there, the dynamic completely shifts. You just stay calm, keep eye contact, take a breath, and smile.
And just say something simple like, give me just a second. I am searching for the right word.
Yes, smoothly. Don't rush it. The person listening doesn't think you're incompetent. They're actually struck by how comfortable you are with not being perfect.
It instantly makes you look way more confident than if you had rushed through a perfectly grammatical but super panicked sentence.
Absolutely. Which brings us to how this protects you internally. Because staying calm doesn't just unsettle others, it guards 2 major things for you.
Clarity and dignity.
Right. Clarity is always the first casualty of stress. The text talks about pressure creating a noisy mind.
Oh, I hate a noisy mind. Everything feels artificially urgent. You feel like if you don't fix it in 3 seconds, the world ends.
And that's the cortisol flooding your system. It tricks you.
And that leads to rushed sentences that spawn like 10 new problems.
Consider the neurological impact of that on a language learner. When your amygdala signals a panic, blood flow is literally restricted from your prefrontal cortex.
Which is where you do all your complex thinking and language retrieval, right?
Exactly. The English vocabulary you studied didn't just vanish. The panic blocked your brain's access to the database.
Wow. So being grounded, producing that internal noise-canceling frequency, keeps the door unlocked.
It gives your brain the actual physical bandwidth to function.
That makes so much sense. And it directly ties into protecting your dignity. There is a line from the source that hit me so hard. Future you is tired.
That is such a sobering thought.
Right. A loud, dramatic reaction screaming back at someone or just shrinking into a puddle of apologies over a grammar mistake might feel like a relief for 1 minute.
You discharge the energy.
But the emotional hangover the next week is just brutal. You're exhausted trying to clean it up.
Yeah, restraint is really about holding back so you don't feel small or embarrassed later.
For an English speaker, that means you stop shrinking or apologizing for every tiny error. You pause. You give yourself the dignity to be a not perfect, but highly dignified speaker.
I love that. But I know what a lot of people are thinking right now.
What's the pushback?
Wait, isn't just ignoring your feelings and staying quiet incredibly unhealthy? Like shove down anger.
Oh, that's a great point. And the source actually draws a really strict line here. Real calm is not suppression or numbness.
It's completely different. Suppression is an absence of feeling.
Yeah.
Real calm is profound presence.
The source has this very witty description for suppression. They say shoving emotions down is just an emotional storage system with very bad architecture.
Bad architecture.
Yeah.
That's hilarious and so true. It will collapse eventually.
So what's the difference in practice?
Well, think about suppression like computer RAM. If you're terrified and you suppress it, you spend 80% of your mental RAM keeping the door shut on your panic.
Which leaves you with only 20% to actually remember your English verbs.
Exactly. It's totally unsustainable. True calm doesn't ignore the emotion. It registers that a comment was unfair or that a mistake stung. It just refuses to let that emotion grab the steering wheel.
So it doesn't mean you never speak up. It just means you communicate with boundaries.
Right. You can look at someone and say, that hurt me, or that's not acceptable, without descending into chaos.
And for someone practicing English, it means acknowledging you're nervous, but choosing to speak straight through the nerves instead of shutting down.
Yeah. But that brings us to the million-dollar question.
How do we actually become this wonderfully calm person? Are people just born resilient?
Fortunately, no. The reality from the source is that the deepest calm is usually earned. It's not innate.
People become seasoned.
Seasoned, like a cast iron pan.
Yeah. A cast iron pan gets seasoned by enduring high heat over and over until nothing sticks to it anymore.
That is the perfect parallel. People become seasoned because life has already shaken them. The calmest people you know used to be highly reactive.
But the exhaustion of chaos, the regret, the emotional hangovers, it all eventually makes peace look much more attractive than a loud performance.
It's basically exposure therapy.
Yeah?
And for the listeners struggling with English confidence today, this changes everything.
How so?
Those incredibly fluent, confident, non-native speakers you admire. They are calm now because they survived hundreds of awkward, messy conversations in the past.
Oh, wow. So the mistakes the listener is making today are literally the exact tools building their future resilience.
Exactly. Every time you forget a word and survive, your brain realizes it's not a lethal threat. You're building new neural pathways.
You can't just read your way to this kind of calm. You have to walk through the fire a bit.
You really do.
Okay, I love the theory, but I need the practical toolkit. When my nervous system is screaming at me to panic, how do I physically execute this self-regulation?
The text lays out very specific, small steps. And the first one is entirely physical. You have to pause before replying.
Just force a gap?
Yes. Force a gap, take a deliberate breath into your stomach before you answer. Notice what your body is doing.
Oh, right. Like usually my shoulders are up by my ears and my jaw is completely locked.
Exactly. Consciously drop your shoulders. Unclench your jaw. That physical reset tells your brain you aren't actually being chased by a predator.
It lowers the cortisol. Okay, so that's the physical anchor. What about the mental one?
Instead of just doing what you feel like doing in that moment, you ask yourself a stabilizing question.
Which is,
What does this moment need from me?
what does this moment need from me? I love that. It bypasses your ego entirely.
It does. It pulls your focus away from your internal panic and puts it on external problem solving.
And it forces the blood right back to your prefrontal cortex.
Exactly. If the moment needs you to de-escalate, you stay quiet. If it needs you to find a missing English word, it needs you to pause, smile, and say, let me gather my thoughts.
You are giving the moment what it requires, not just feeding the drama. The source actually uses this beautiful image of a cup of water resting on a table.
Oh, right. The water in the cup.
Yeah, the room might shake, the situation around it might be super loud and chaotic, but the water inside the cup remains stable, it doesn't spill.
That is steady self-regulation right there. And for English learners, remember, the goal isn't to be a cold, emotionless robot.
Or to speak perfect English overnight.
Right, it's simply to become someone who doesn't abandon themselves in difficult moments.
So your calm is basically your quiet superpower. It stops you from feeding chaos, helps you retain your vocabulary, and protects your dignity.
All while making chaotic people a little bit nervous.
Exactly. But before we wrap up this deep dive, there's one final, really provocative thought from the source that we want to leave you with to ponder on your own.
Yeah, this really got me thinking. We've talked entirely about using self-regulation as a shield, right, to protect our clarity during stress and difficult conversations.
Using the pause and the breath to block out the bad stuff.
But what happens if we apply this exact same deliberate pause to moments of success or joy?
Oh, wow.
Do we rush through the good moments with a noisy mind too? Like when you finally nail that massive presentation in English, or you're sitting around laughing with friends.
Could practicing the steady calm, dropping your shoulders, breathing, being fully present, actually help us absorb the positive parts of our lives more deeply?
It's something to think about. Whether you're navigating a tough conversation or an unexpected triumph, the goal is to be fully there for it.
Not frantic, not numb, just steady.